Hi everyone, I'm going to give a teaching on a question I'm always being asked, and that is, does God exist? I'm afraid God does exist, and some people would say, is there a higher power in that? And that is God all of the time. And many a times I'm asked, what does God look like? And I love that. And I only can describe that when he comes to me and gives a human appearance, he's always very handsome and always young and always taller than I am. But spiritually, you just feel that love. And of course, there's just this light that comes from him. God exists. God is real. And I always say to everyone, don't wait till the last moment of your life to discover that God is real, that our Creator is real. And I know all over the world we call God by different names because so many of us come from different cultures, different faiths. And I'm always saying to everyone to remember it's the one God. It doesn't matter. But God is love. God is caring. God is generous. God gives us so much. Every single day he gives us blessings. But we don't even notice them because, how would I say, we're all the time, I have to smile looking for more. But that's the human nature, the human part of ourselves, of always looking for more. And I have been, how would you say, I've been asked by priests and nuns and rabbis and ministers and imams and just so many of different faiths, different religions, and they asked me a question that I thought I would never be asked by religious leaders. And they asked me the one question, Lorna, is God real? God is real. Don't doubt that for 1 minute. And I just remember, being asked that question and being kind of shocked, because these people are highly educated. They're the religious leaders of the world. A bishop asking you that, it kind of was like a blow, like as if someone, took a big huge plank or whip and just lashed me, because I thought I would never be asked that question. I thought humanly that everyone knows God is real. God is our Creator and he loves us. And I see that love in abundance. And yet we blame God for everything. And I suppose, again, that is just the human part of us. We blame God for all the disasters in the world, even though we as human beings have been the cause of them. So I suppose we have to blame someone if we feel we can't blame ourselves because we don't want to acknowledge what is happening. But yet the higher power, God, because people use that word, still loves us unconditionally. God is real. God is that light of hope. Every time you are compassionate or caring, that's God. And I love the way, and I don't know when it happened, maybe we were just a little blob of God's creation, and God decided to give us, that spark of light of God itself, given us a soul so that only the human part of us dies, but we would live forever. We would be like God in one sense. You know, we live for eternity. And I love another thing God does. I love the love he shows us all the time, but I love the way God is creating all of the time. And just something that I'm becoming more and more aware of is, you know, God has given us that spark of light of himself, our soul, that is so tiny but yet so enormous. And we as human beings, when I look around the world, we are becoming creators ourselves. And I love that. But I guess that can be our, what would you say, our biggest crutch in one sense. Because when we create something, we don't think of, is it good for us? Or what harm it would do to us as human beings or to nature. Where God thinks of all of that. When you just think of God, that higher power, regardless of what religion you believe in, has created this planet and many others. And look at the life that's on this planet, including ourselves. Like, isn't it incredible? I can't imagine mankind being able to create a planet ourselves. We might imitate something, but I know we can never be the same kind of creator that God is. And that's the higher power, and it is the sense of us connecting back into God, having faith, having that love, that compassion, all those gifts we ask for but are not for sale. Love is not for sale. Peace is not for sale. Hope is not for sale. You know, empathy is not for sale. All the gifts we are all looking for now in the world today, they're not for sale. And I love that because each and every one of you have it. You have all the gifts. You just have to say to yourself, will I use those gifts? Will I use compassion and love just like God does? Will I be creative just like God is? Will I show mercy just like God does? Will I show hope? Will I give hope just like God does? And you have a soul, a spark of light of God. I hope that helps you to understand in this little lesson a little bit about God, and in a sense, a little bit about ourselves and our soul, because our soul is that spark of light of God, and you can't buy any of those gifts. That's what you must remember. You use them in your life. So don't be angry, don't be full of hate, don't want revenge, because that's not, how would I say, that's not God. That's the human part of you. So love you and bless you. Bye-bye. Love you.